Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network and iHeartRadio. Welcome to Hunting for Answers, a true crime podcast. I'm your host, Hunter, and today we're highlighting a case that began in Birmingham, Alabama. In May 2005, one woman's routine morning drive turned into a mystery that has now lasted over 20 years. She worked at a hospital and left her home around 3:45 in the morning, heading to work like she'd done many times before. But this time, she never arrived. Instead, reports indicate there may have been an issue with her vehicle, possibly a flat tire. Either way, by the time anyone arrived at her last known location, she was gone. Her truck was gone. And days later, when police recovered her vehicle abandoned at a truck stop, they found fingerprints inside that did not belong to her. This is the story of Nancy Lewis. Nancy Lewis was 47 years old in May 2005. She's described as a Black woman with graying black hair and brown eyes. She had spent about 7 years working as a cook at a children's hospital in Birmingham. According to archived reporting from the Birmingham Post-Herald, co-workers described Nancy's laugh as infectious and remembered her as upbeat and cheerful. Nancy lived with a roommate at the time on Princeton Avenue Southwest. She had a sister named Dorothy Westry and a brother named James. Nancy was also diabetic, but according to her family, she managed her condition through diet rather than medication. May 18, 2005, 3:45 in the morning, Nancy Lewis climbed into her blue Chevrolet S10 pickup truck and headed out from her home on Princeton Avenue. She was heading to Children's Hospital for her 5 o'clock a.m. shift. It was still dark outside. The streets were mostly empty. This was reportedly her routine, leaving before dawn, often arriving early. But on this particular morning, something went wrong. Shortly after leaving her home, there were reports that Nancy may have experienced a problem with her vehicle, possibly a flat tire. Some accounts say Nancy contacted her brother James and asked him to come help her. Other reports quote James saying he never received that call at all. Either way, when people went looking for her, Nancy wasn't there. Her truck wasn't there, and there was no sign of her. James has said her tires were relatively new, which made him doubt that a flat tire was the real problem. 5 a.m. had came and went. Nancy Lewis did not show up for work. For a woman known to arrive early and described by coworkers as reliable, this was completely out of character for her. Later that morning, coworkers grew concerned when Nancy never arrived. The morning turned into afternoon, then evening. No word from Nancy, no calls, no sightings. Her blue Chevrolet S10 was also missing. Then, the next day, May 19th, someone spotted her truck at a midfield gas station. But Nancy wasn't driving. Witnesses reported seeing a man behind the wheel. But the man was never identified. And Nancy was still nowhere to be found. 3 days after Nancy disappeared, on May 22, 2005, police recovered her truck. It was found abandoned at a pilot travel center on Bankhead Highway. Inside, investigators found fingerprints that did not belong to Nancy. They were later identified as matching a woman named Penny L. Clark. Penny L. Clark from Bessemer, Alabama, became a person of interest in June 2005. Police said they wanted to question her about how her fingerprints ended up in Nancy's vehicle. But investigators were clear. She was not called a suspect. To this day, police have never publicly confirmed whether Penny Clark was formally questioned. Her connection to Nancy remains unexplained. A second person of interest was a man named John DuBose. DuBose was interviewed by police about Nancy's truck. Detective Tasha Thomas said, "Just some of the information he gave makes us think he has some kind of connection and might have information we need." Later, DuBose was jailed on unrelated charges. He was released in 2010. In 2012, Birmingham police announced they had lost contact with him and didn't know where he was. They asked the public for help locating him. In the middle of so much uncertainty, years have passed, and Nancy's disappearance remains unsolved. To this day, her family is still searching for answers. What follows are questions investigators have never been able to answer. What really happened after Nancy left her home? Was there an issue with her vehicle? And if so, what was it? Why was her truck later seen being driven by an unknown man? Who was he, and how did he end up with it? And how did Penny Clark's fingerprints end up inside? Nancy Lewis's case is considered a cold case by Birmingham police. Over 2 decades later, no remains have been found, no arrests have been made, and police have never named a suspect. The answer to what happened to Nancy Lewis remains unknown. Our thoughts are with the family and friends of Nancy Lewis. If you have any information about the disappearance of Nancy, or if you know the current whereabouts of Penny L. Clark or John DuBose, contact the Birmingham Police Department. Their contact information is listed in the description below. As we close out this episode, remember that sharing Nancy's story helps keep her name in the public conversation and supports her family's search for answers. For updates on this case and others, follow Hunting for Answers. You can also connect with us through our Facebook group and find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And reach out to us if there's a story you think should be highlighted on Hunting for Answers. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Until next time. Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network. For more podcasts from the Black Effect Podcast Network, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. Stay connected with our community by joining our new Facebook group. The link is in our bio.